First Updates Now is brought to you by viewers like you. Fun relies on the generous support of our fans in order to continue to keep creating content. Please consider donating, giving bits, or subscribing. Subscribe for a few bucks a month or for free through Twitch Prime. And don't forget that our subscribers get 5x chance to win on all giveaways.
Welcome to FTC Live, airing on First Updates Now. In the next half an hour, you'll get to have your questions answered by the three-time world champion winner, one-time world championship finalist, sometimes called the cheesy poofs of FTC. They're the one and only 724, RedNek Robotics 1. Reporting for FTC Live, I'm Shashir.
I'm Ethan. And if you have any questions that you'd like to be read during the show, please tag at First Updates Now and type your question into the chat. With that, Winston, Luke, and Holton, would you tell us a little bit about your team?
So my name is Winston.
I'm Luke. I'm Holter.
I've been on the team for, so I'm a senior. I've been on the team for a long time, since Block Party.
No, this is my first year this past year, and just learned from Winston. And this is also my first year.
So I see that you guys really do have like a combination of like experience. So how do you guys really work with that? How do you guys do the training, and how do you guys maintain, like 724 is such an old number, how do you guys maintain your momentum through so many years?
I guess I would say my momentum really picked up with my brother. So he's 3 years older than me. He started doing FTC when he was in junior high. And he was easily able to pass a lot of experience down to me. And now I guess I've been focusing a lot this year on passing down my experience as well. So between me and my brother, we've been doing it for about 7 or 8 years on this team.
Wow, that's very impressive. So when did the team start?
The team started in 2008, right? 2007 or 2008. Yeah.
That's very impressive. So I see that, like, I know, just one quick question before we sort of segue into the next segment, but like, I know that you guys have had a very steep change between like before 2014 and after 2014. Like as soon as that 2014 finalist lines hit, you've been finalist, winner, and then another winner. So how did you guys shift your gears so much to perform so consistently well at such a high level of competition?
Well, so 2014, my brother was a junior, and the year before, he had learned a lot about reliability of the robots.
Wow.
He'd always been able to come up with really good designs, but their biggest problem was just their robot would always just not work one match, or just stuff would happen. And so he really just focused after those years and just passed it on to the rest of the team that reliability was key, and that your robot always needed to work, and that was one of the most important things.
Wow. That's something that I feel is super underrated. I mean, you may feel like building the flashiest robot in the world might be the best thing, but I mean, as you guys have shown, that's not really the case. It's always about that consistency. So just a bit of just a little bit about FTC Live and fun. Whether you guys are watching live or archived, we really do need your help to keep FTC Live and fun going. And you can subscribe to fun on Twitch, give bits, or make a donation. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description as to how you can help fun. Thank you to everyone who's chosen to step forward to support shows like FTC Live, and we're going to announce all the subscribers and donors we have received since our last show near the end of this show. Make sure you let everyone on your team or network know about our shows so that we can continue to grow our community. I just wanted to talk about just like what fun is and like how important it is, but like we can let's move right back into what we're talking about here. So I gotta ask, how do you guys design? Like, as soon as the challenge comes out, what is you guys' process like from the first time you sit down into how to create like a world-class robot so consistently?
I'd say right when the game comes out, we just have a huge brainstorming session and we just come up with as many good ideas as we can. Once we do that, we usually just start to prototype them, like pretty just kind of rough prototypes of our ideas, to make sure that they're going to work and they're going to work efficiently. And then as we do that, we keep solving more design problems, just kind of mentally. Once we have prototyped as much as we want to prototype, we kind of just decide on our design and we decide exactly how our robot's going to be. And then we design it all in SolidWorks.
Oh, right, all right.
Yep. So we pretty much design the entire thing in SolidWorks. And then once we design it in SolidWorks, we've solved most of the big problems already. And then we can just put it together. And of course, there's still problems, but they're not like major design problems. They're just kind of tweaking problems. And so then once we put it together, then there's just a lot of tweaking, practice, etc.
And we also, once we get our design on CAD, we have Lexan plates drawn in on CAD. And when we're done drawing, we'll take the Lexan, or we'll actually get Lexan and put it on the CNC. So all our holes will be drilled. So we just put the frame together, and we can just fill in the frame with whatever our plan was.
Wow, that's very, very interesting. So, like, just a quick question about the timeline of your guys' season. When is your guys' first qualifier? Like, state? I think you guys go to Montana and Idaho, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yep. So actually, Montana State has Montana qualifiers. There's 2 of them.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I mean, they're not really qualifiers. They're kind of just there so you have another practice tournament. Pretty much everyone qualifies that goes. But those happen in November, starting in November. And then the state competitions are at the end of January, beginning of February.
Ooh, all right.
So you guys are normally when do you get done with your like competition designed robot?
Depends on the year. We've been getting better about that as it has been going. I mean, for example, 3 years ago, we didn't really have our robot complete until after Montana State, so like before Idaho State. This year, we definitely had our robot pretty much complete like a couple weeks before. So it depends on the year, but
yeah. But you normally try to shoot for like right as Montana State hits, you're at your competition bot and ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, we try to get it done as fast as possible, essentially. But like this year, we had a pretty good bot for qualifiers. We usually don't have a good bot for qualifiers, but this year we were kind of ahead of schedule. But yeah, we always want to have our robot pretty good for state.
Yeah, for sure. State is the tough one. So I had a question from someone on my sister team, Recharged Orange. Do you guys use Rev or Modern Robotics, and why? Do you guys use Rev or Modern Robotics, and why?
We use Modern Robotics still. I guess we never actually really tested Rev very much. Last year, Modern Robotics worked really well for us, and we just figured out how to make sure it wouldn't DC. It just worked really well last year, and so we just used it again.
Very nice.
So I gotta ask, like, from Nate from Team 12897, he's asked, what do you guys think is key to your consistent performance? Like, I know that you said consistency is super important, but like, is there a way that you make yourselves so consistent? Would you guys like to expand on that?
I mean, it's not like just one specific thing, I guess. I mean, the main thing is electrical disconnects. So we always make sure we have surge protectors on some of our wires to prevent static from affecting stuff, and we also make sure we strap down the wires really well so that they're not going to jiggle loose. I mean, the electrical part is the main thing that usually goes wrong, but I guess for the rest, it's just a lot of experience has helped just for us to know how to build stuff well. Experience just helps you know what's going to go wrong, and it just helps you figure out what you need to do to make stuff more reliable, and just new building techniques or so on and so forth.
And when we practice, we also have a chance to find any problems with the mechanical design, so we can fix those before any competition, and we'll get more consistent in doing that as well.
Yeah, we do a lot of practice to make sure that we figure out all the tweaks. We tweak everything all the little problems that we need to before competition, like you said.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of building on that, how much do you guys normally practice before every competition?
We practice a lot.
30 hours a week.
Yeah, I mean, before, like during the competition season, like February, March, April, we're usually there at Robotics probably about 25 to 30 hours a week, and we're practicing for like at least 20 hours a week probably.
All
So
right,
you're practicing driving your robot for 20 hours.
I mean, probably. I mean, I guess a lot of it sometimes is working on autonomous as well. So between autonomous and driving, probably about like 25 to 30 between autonomous and driving practice.
Wow.
All right. So off of the chat, we've had a question. This does seem like it's going to be a bit of a weighted question, but you guys have been playing perfectly legally, but like the question from MemeBot FTC was, what do you guys have to say that people judge your team or hate on RedNek for playing defense, despite defense being completely legal?
I mean, yeah, like it's completely legal, and we're just trying to be as strategic as we can. I mean, why would we not be strategic, you know? And yeah, I mean, our intent is definitely not to like break other people's robots or anything like that. I mean, we're just trying to play strategically, maximize our chances of winning, I guess. So I guess I don't really understand why people are like don't appreciate I don't understand why people are like against this so much, I guess. But
That's very fair. I think that like you guys play a more aggressive style than we've seen, but I mean the referees don't call it as illegal. Like you guys are playing within the rules, so I don't think that. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. And another question that we do have is about your drive chain. As we can see in the video that was playing, you guys, your drivetrain, I think you guys do 4-motor, 6-wheel, and your wrap is very, very interesting. So could you guys go into a little bit more about how you guys wrap that chain to ensure that your drivetrain is as effective as possible?
yep. So the wrap. So basically, we just have a couple of premises that we like to have with our drivetrain with chain. And that is, we want all the sprockets to have at least 90 degrees of contact on the chain to make sure that the sprockets won't like disconnect from the chain. And also, we don't want to have any idlers in the chain because those are just make it less efficient. So basically, the chain path has no idlers and it has a lot of contact on each of the sprockets. So that's why it's wrapped so weirdly, I guess. But
So it is one chain per side. It's not two separate chains each side, right?
yeah, it's just one chain.
All right. So that actually brings me into a question that I had. It's not about this year's robot, it's about last year's robot. But what were your guys' ratios and what were you guys' like how'd you guys chain that up to be so fast yet so robust?
Basically, last year we had six motors on the drive system,
Wow.
so that pretty much explains it. We were just using 40 to 1s with 2 to 1 gear ratios on 3-inch wheels. So it was pretty fast, but also there are 6 motors, so it's also really powerful.
That's right. Okay. So another question that we did have from the that we had from the chat was how do you guys feel? What do you guys feel is your biggest strength, and how do you use that strength to pursue like your mission and your like the mission of winning championships and the mission of being so consistently good?
I'd say one of our biggest strengths in the past has been like just really strategic thinking, I guess. We always try to find designs that are going to work like really efficiently, and we come up with really good. We try to be strategic, like we just think about how we can get advantages in this game or any game, and so those are really important. And like, I mean, yeah, our goal is kind of to win, and I think that is a good goal. I mean, not all teams have that goal, but I think it is a good goal because if you're really focused on trying to make your robot as best as it possibly can be, I think you learn a lot in the process. And so, yeah, but basically just having that goal makes it so that we try to come up with like really good solutions, really consistent solutions, and we just think a lot about the game.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of building on that, you talked a lot about how you build your robots with strategy in mind. I know about RedNek not participating in judging and awards. Can you talk a little bit about that? So I know there's stuff that goes around about RedNek not participating in judgings or awards or working very much on their notebook. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, like say, I think our goal is a great way to learn engineering. You know, trying to really focus on building a really good robot is a great way to learn engineering. But also, I guess we've just never really had we've never had a lot of team members, so that doesn't help. And we've never really had a lot of team members that really wanted to focus on that type of stuff. I mean, that's kind of how.
Oh yeah. So basically, like, we all want to build the robot. There's only 3 or 4 of us on our team part of the year, and then 3 later on. So basically, everybody's working on the robot. We didn't really have much time to get the logbook, so it's like back our priority. We did a little bit before Supers, just so that we could maybe have a chance at some awards to move on. But otherwise, once we got past Supers, our goal is just to win Worlds. So.
All right. So one question that I had for both Holter and Luke, you guys said that this was your first year, right? So like, how was your experience? I know this is a super broad question, but I gotta say, it must have been a wild ride. So could you guys expand a little bit more about that?
So I think the experience is really good. Like, I had a blast, and Winston taught us a lot. I think we'll be prepared next year when Winston leaves. So, I mean, if we do anything wrong, it'll be making either robots too complex or too simple, and that's the biggest thing. But like, I think FTC is a great program, and just really fun to be able to experience it with Winston his last year. He's such a good leader for our team.
Yeah, like winning Worlds this year, like, gives us confidence, I guess, going into next year, unlike like other rookie teams, I guess. Just starting out, like, being nervous against the teams.
So does it also put a bit of pressure on you guys to hold up that name?
Yeah, definitely. Lots of pressure. Like, even right now, I'm feeling pressure for next year. Like, right now, I've been spending quite a few days down where we work, just thinking about how I can get ready for next year. Because, I mean, Holter will be going away next year, so it'll be me and 3 other 8th graders and maybe another kid. So I'd really be one has had the best learning from Winston. So.
That's a very interesting story, honestly. Like, a lot of teams now are getting smaller, but like, I've never seen a team so successful just like maintain that kind of thing for so many years as such a small team. That's something very new. One more question that we did have was, could you guys take us into the strategy as to why you guys didn't focus on a multi-glyph autonomous as much as other teams? I know that you guys did have one, both on near and far, but like, is there a reason why like that wasn't like the top priority of what you guys did?
Yeah, so I would say before Worlds we focused on it quite a bit, I would say, and unfortunately the field was kind of like sunk in more at Worlds, and it actually affected our autonomous a little bit and made it slower. So our multi-glyph on the back didn't work as well as it did at home. Mm-hmm. But from the beginning of the season, we found that lots of times just being really consistent and having your design working really well, having really good drive practice, those are usually the things that win. And after Super Regionals, we didn't really see that would be a lot different, at least for our Worlds. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, like I said, we did work on our autonomous, but we didn't spend a ton of time on it. And that's also because we had tank drive. And so like, I think it would have been a bit easier with Mechanum drive, because it's just easier you don't have to turn as much. You can just kind of slide. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of also played into it.
Yeah, so that actually leads me into my next question that I have over here. So like, from Roller Coaster 45, what do you guys think about, like, what are you guys looking at when you come up with a drivetrain? So like, he asked, why didn't you guys pick a Mechanum drive this year?
So What we saw with the tank drive is that, I mean, Winston's been driving it since he was an 8th grader, so he's obviously has a lot of experience with it. And then also Mecanum drive, we just feel that it could be pushed around really easily. So if we would go with tank drive, we'd have a defensive edge on other teams. And I guess mainly the biggest thing was just Winston having lots of experience with tank drive.
That's very true. I think familiarity is a key component of creating something very, very consistent. I did have a question. We on the Facebook on the West Super Regional page, and Luke, I think you posted about Mr. Merja, your coach. Could you please talk a little bit about like what happened and if there's anything the first community can do to support him and be able to be at his side?
So recently, our coach, Chuck Merja, was involved in a farming accident where a radiator hose blew, and he had burns covering 30% of his body. So he was flown to Salt Lake City, and he's currently at the University of Utah's burn unit. And he just went through a treatment, I know, and he's also on quite a bit of meds right now, and he's really groggy and tired. But he's doing better. They may not have to do surgery on the worst burn of his body, which is really good. And if you want to send him a card, his address right now would be Chuck Merja, 50 North Medical Drive, Salt Lake City, Utah, 84132. I checked the zip code on that. I'm not sure if it's right.
Wow. All right. Thank you so much for that. We'll definitely get that information out. Ethan, did you have any questions?
I was going to say what you just said.
Wow. So just a little bit about Mr. Merja. Mr. Merja is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, FTC coach I've ever had the pleasure of working with. I've met him for all 4 years that I've done FTC from Cascade Effect, and he's really been an inspiration. He's been like he's not only taught his own team, as I'm sure Winston, Holter, Luke, you can all attest to, but he's taught others. He's taught me. He's taught me so much about like just how to be successful, and I think that I think that he's a real impact to the FTC community over here, and so we're all very, very sad to hear this. We're very glad to hear that he's doing much better, so that's good news. But we're very sad that something like this has happened. Wow. All right.
Okay, do we want to move on? So we had a question about your relic claw. So people said it was potentially the weakest link in your robot. How did you feel about it? And like, what were some of your thoughts on it?
So I guess I operated it, but we practiced with it a lot. The thing was, for some reason on the red back ramp, we could never get it good. So like every time we try, I just completely fail with it at Worlds. Even though we practiced it a whole bunch at home. I mean, at home we could do it in less than 30 seconds, so I don't know.
Like at home we were like that. Like what happened in like there's like 3 matches in the World's elimination matches, and we like kept dropping it and stuff. Like we had gotten it at home to where we hardly ever dropped it, and so we're still not exactly sure like what was going on, but I think maybe we're just a little bit under pressure or something. But like it was. I mean, I think it probably was one of the weaker links of our robot, but I mean, it was working pretty good as far as we knew before we came to the competition. But I guess we just weren't driving to our best or something. So yeah.
And it's also 3D printed, so like it molds to the relic head and arms, so we could grab it easier.
And if you see, I just saw in the video. I mean, the front ramp we can pick it up pretty fast too there. So.
Yeah, I definitely did see quite quick, like you guys worked on it like really well when you guys are going near, but then when you went to the far, something like would happen. So I think you explained it right there. One question that I did get from the Discord was, would you guys have done anything differently if you guys had qualified to the Detroit Worlds instead of the Houston Worlds? In terms of like the strategy that was played there, because of that, would you guys have changed the way you guys approach this game?
I'd say it's possible. Like, of course, their autonomous strengths were probably a little stronger at Detroit, and so we might have tried to work on our autonomous a little bit more. But like say, I mean, it was kind of tough with tank drive anyway. But I think we could have made it better. But I think we would have had a good teleop advantage in Detroit just because our robot was able to, kind of control the pace of the game. Like as you saw, our kind of defensive strategy. That would have been good. But yeah, like the autonomous, maybe we would have worked on a little more.
Yeah. I gotta say, like, if you guys went to Detroit, in my personal opinion, you guys would have killed because none of them had any idea how to play against a defense. So, like, if you guys just sat over there, you'd win that match just like that, I feel. All right. So one question that was pretty important on this chat was, where is it?
Let's see. Do you guys feel that water is likely to be incorporated in next year's game?
No, I mean it would be too hard. But of course, there's a bunch of hints every year. But
yeah, I personally don't think so because like we were talking about it and it'd be cool, but like I don't think like us like personally like we couldn't do like electronics and water. Like,
yeah, like teams already have a lot of electronic issues.
And it's a first step challenge.
Sure.
Just building on that, I was so did you guys have any like in terms of your like your robot performance, did you guys have any issues with disconnects or like how did you guys minimize having those issues? Because I know that a lot of teams did.
Yeah, so one problem we had earlier in the season is after autonomous, we would go to hit the play button, and everything was frozen. Somehow online, someone figured out that it was the color sensor that was causing that problem, and so we realized that our color sensor wire was just way too long, and so we just shortened that up a bunch to fix it. But we spent a lot of time on that. Like that was our number one priority. Even though it didn't happen all that often, we definitely made sure we fixed it. Yeah, that was the main electrical problem we had this year, I guess.
Nice. Okay. I mean, like, yeah, that was one thing that I really didn't see too much. You guys were very, very consistent on that field, and I think that that really leads to a lot of scoring capability. So that's pretty impressive. Thank you for answering that. One last question that I do have is, what was your guys' favorite match of the season? I know you're gonna have so many matches that you love, but like, if you were to choose one.
Personally, I might have liked division finals match number 3 at Worlds. I really liked that because we played really strategically, and we actually prevented our opponents from getting both of their ciphers, but we got our full teleop.
Wow.
Personally, for me, I'd choose West Sip Regionals Finals 1. It was just an all-around good match for us there.
That was a match to watch too.
I think probably like the semifinals, the last match against Tesseract and all them.
Wow.
Yeah, that was just
That was.
I mean, we were almost sure we had lost.
Yeah.
So it was just I guess it was just crazy to actually end up winning, but
Yeah.
Was that the one that you guys won by penalties? I forget.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Nice. So one another question that I received was so what do you guys do in your off season?
Spikeball.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely take it easier because we go hard all season. So we take it. Yeah, we usually kind of take it easy, but I think this year I'll definitely be teaching these guys as much as I can before I leave.
We also have rubber band wars in the place we work at. So yeah.
All right.
That is awesome. Okay, do we have any last questions before we tell these guys goodbye?
I don't think so. I think we're
okay. So before we go, let's bring on our producer Tyler to read off those who have stepped up to help First Updates Now and FTC Live with subscriptions and donations.
Thanks, Ethan. So we did have a couple people step up before the show started. Nobody during the show, but hey, that's all right, guys. So we appreciate you following. So make sure you click that follow button up there on the screen so you can watch more FTC live shows in the future. But we did have 3 subscribers before the show started. So that goes to Maurerman95, Nick James, and Jared254. Thank you for your subscriptions.
On behalf of myself, Ethan, and our producer Tyler, working behind the scenes, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. And thank you, Luke, Winston, and Holter for being guests to this fantastic show. Coming up in a few short minutes, you'll get to talk with Jack from Team 9971, the Land Bros. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time on FTC Live.
Yep, thank you
Thank
all.
you.